Okay, PSY Limited is a wholesale distributor of a variety of electrical appliances to a range of detailed outlets. The company has an annual turnover of 3.5 million. In seeking to improve working capital management, the finance manager has gathered the following information. Average period for which items are held in inventory, 4.5 months. Okay, this is how long the inventory is held before it runs out. Average receivables collection period, 3.5 months. So on average, the people who you sell to, they can pay back after 3.5 months. So you can imagine in those 3 months, you're going to be having expenses. Okay, you'll be having expenses. Average payables payment period, 2.5 months. How long we take to pay our um, payables, the people who we owe money, our creditors. Okay. So working capital management involves managing inventory, managing receivables and payables, so that you have liquidity within your business. You have money so that when expenses fall due, you can pay for them. Okay, colleagues? I think even before starting to read this, we should remember what working capital is and what are um, what the two main goals of working capital management is. Okay. Working capital is the money that is used for the day-to-day running of a business. Then the two main objectives, the other objectives, but the ones you see mostly, is profitability and liquidity. Profitability meaning we should be generating profits. Liquidity meaning we should have cash on hand so that when any expenses fall due, we can pay for them. So trying to balance out these two, colleagues, theoretically it looks easy, right, colleagues? It looks easy. No, I can balance profitability and liquidity. It looks easy, right, colleagues? But it's not. Okay, it is not, because one will be affecting the other. Okay, so the financial manager of PSY Limited is considering factoring credit sales so as to improve working capital management. They want to engage somebody to be collecting the money that is owed to them so that they can be receiving their money early, because they're holding this period, 3.5 months, is too long. Okay, it's too long. At least in receivables management, you want at least your receivables to be paying you a bit faster. Okay, you want them to be paying you faster so that money is coming in. The company's credit sales account for 90% of the annual turnover. Bad debts are typically 2.5% of credit sales. So, colleagues, bad debts, this is not the money that you lose out because someone who's owing you money has gone. Maybe they've passed away, maybe they've relocated, maybe you are crooked. Okay, so that money is not coming back. Okay, yes. The offer from the factor is conditional on the following. The factor will take over the sales ledger completely, right? 75% of the value of credit sales will be advanced immediately. Okay, so how much you're being owed, the factor is going to give you 75% cash. Isn't that a nice thing? This person who you've engaged is going to give you 75% of your money up front. Okay. The remaining 25% will be paid to the company 1 month later. So after a month, the remaining money you'll be paid. So that you get all your money, then the factor now it's their job. This is their job now to start chasing those people. You'll be happily seated with your money. The factor charges 12% per annum on credit sales for advancing funds. Okay. So you're charged a 12%. For them to give you this advance of money, you're going to be charged 12% of your credit sales. The factor is normally able to reduce the receivables collection period to 1 month. Okay, meaning the money that people owing you can be collected in 1 month. The factor will collect that. The factor offers a no recourse facility whereby they take on the responsibility for dealing with the bad debts. Yes, so it won't fall onto you. Okay, if the factor fails to doesn't collect some money because of bad debts, it's that's their problem. You don't have to worry about that. The factor is normally able to reduce bad debts to 1.5% of credit sales. Okay. A charge for factoring services of 5% of credit sales will be made. A one-off payment of 30,000 is payable to the factor. Okay. So you have to pay them 30,000. Okay. The salary of the sales ledger administrator, 15,000, will be saved under the proposals. PSY Limited's cost of overdraft finance is 12% per annum. PSY Limited pays its sales force on a commission-only basis. The cost of this is 4.5% of credit sales and is payable immediately the sales are made. There is no intention to alter this arrangement under the factoring proposals. You are the new assistant financial manager, and the financial manager has tasked you to help him in make the decisions. Further, PSY Limited faces an interest rate of 0.5% per day, and its brokers charge 75 kwacha for each transaction in short-term securities. The managing director has stated that the minimum cash balance acceptable is 2,000. Oh, this is going to be for this other question here. This one here. Okay. This is not relevant to this. All right, so colleagues, part A, determine the viability of the proposal to the factor, the sales ledger, by comparing PSY Limited's existing receivable collection costs with those that would result from using the factor, assuming that the factor can reduce the receivables collection period to 1 month. All right, colleagues. So this is how you deal with these questions. All right. First, we need to get this credit sales value. Okay, reason why we're going to get it is because we want to see what our trade receivables balance is without the factor. Okay, how much we're basically being owed when we don't engage the factor. And then want to say, okay, if we engage the factor, how will this balance be? Okay, because the purpose of the factor, as they are collecting money for you, it means this receivables balance is supposed to drop. Okay, would you agree with me, Mr. Kasono, that when you engage this factor, your trade receivables balance has to also drop, meaning the money that people are owing you has to drop. Okay. So step one, colleagues, get the credit sales, 90% of annual sales turnover. So 90 over 100 times 3.5 million. This is 3,150,000. Those are the credit sales. After you get the credit sales, all right, let's find out what our trade receivables balance is without the factor. So if you ever want to find your trade receivables, remember this formula: credit sales over 12, since it's months, times collection period. You need to remember this formula, colleagues. It won't be provided for you. Okay. You need to remember this. Okay. Credit sales over 12 months times the collection period. Since the collection period is in months, if it was in days, over 365. Yes, someone wants to ask a question? What about if it's in hours, colleagues? So credit sales 3,150,000 over 12 times the collection period 3.5 months. You do these tabulations. This is our trade receivables balance, okay? 918,750. This is how much people will be owing us if we don't get the factor basic. Any questions before I move further? Because we have to go slowly by slowly. Any questions? Okay. Now, in the question, they told us the factor is going to be able to reduce this collection period to 1 month, from 3.5 months to 1 month. Okay. So the same formula again. So now we're finding if we engage the factor, what would be our balance? Okay. So 3,150,000 divided by 12 multiplied by 1 month, 262,500. So, colleagues, have you seen this drop from 918,000 dropping down to 262,000? Okay, that would be impressive. Okay, from being owed 900 down to 200, that would be good. Months, months. Uh-huh. Since the collection period is in months, if it was days, what would we put? Mr. Kasono? Yes. Yes. So what if the collection period was in days? 365, right? What about in hours? You would never find it in hours. Okay? Yes. So this is a new trade receivables balance with the fact. So these tabulations here, you're going to see when. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. You never say collection period in hours. But in if there was, it means you will never have people owing you money because you're collecting your money in hours time. You make a credit sale, within hours you have collected your money. Wouldn't that be good, Mr. Emmanuel? If that was ever possible. If when you make a credit sale, you collect your money within hours, wouldn't that be wonderful? Okay. So, colleagues, here basically what we're doing here is this. These tabulations here, you're going to see them under the benefits of the fact, because these benefits want to put a monetary value to them. Okay. These four in the trade receivables means that PSY is going to receive most of its money, meaning they do not need to go and get an overdraft. Okay, because in the question they told us here, this company, the overdraft rate is where 12%. Okay, people are taking long to pay you, you go and get an overdraft. Okay, which is not good because overdrafts are here. eh, Whenever they want the money, they can demand it. Okay, yes. So you're going to see how that how these foreign receivables, how we're going to uh, put it in monetary form to get one of the benefits. Then the bad debts, okay, because we've got our credit sales, we've got our trade receivables. Now we just need to find out, okay, what about the bad debts? The bad debts, without the factor, they told us is 2.5% of credit sales. Okay, 2.5 over 100 times the credit sales, 3,150,000, 78,750. This is the money we are losing because people who are owing us disappear. We can't collect this money anymore. So if we engage the fact, they tell us the bad debts drops to 1.5%. Okay, 1.5%. So 1.5% of the credit sales, 47,250. That's how much the bad sales value drops to. Okay. So with these questions, first get credit sales, then trade receivables. Then if there's also bad debts, get the bad debts values. Okay. Because what we're going to do here is first we'll tabulate what are the costs that we're going to incur with this factor and compare them with the benefits of the factor. Okay. So let's start tabulating the costs of the factor, the cost that we're going to incur with this factor. Okay, this one-off payment, 30,000. Okay, this bad debts of 1.5%, 47,250. Because bad debts, remember, money that is lost. Okay, so it's still a cost. Okay, it's just that it's a lower cost with the factor. Factoring service fee, 5% of credit sales, 5% of the 3,150, 157,500. Factor interest payment on advance, 12% of the 3,150,000, 378,000. So the total costs that will incur with the factor, the one-off payment, the bad debts, plus the service fee, plus the payments on the advance payment for the interest. So we add all those values I tabulated there: 30,000 plus 47,250 plus 157,500 plus 378,000. You get total cost of 612,750. Any questions? Excuse me. People are joining when. Okay, well. As you said, that was without a factor. Here it's with the factor. So without the factor, there's that. Yes. Without the factor, there's that cost of thing, the salaries, the salaries of the worker, the bad debts. Okay, so yes, this is the total cost, 612,750. Okay. Benefits over the factor. Okay. The interest you're going to save because you don't need to go for an overdraft. Why? Because your trade receivables fail. Okay. So first is tabulate what is the fall in the trade receivables. Remember the trade receivables without the factor 918,750. The trade receivables with the factor 262,500. Okay, so the fall in the trade receivables 656,250. Okay, so since you won't need to go to get an overdraft because now money is coming in, which you can use. So the interest that will be saved, 12% of 656, 250, 78,750. Any questions? The other way you can find this interest saving, okay, that's one way you can find the interest saving. The other way you can find the interest saving is like this. Okay, you can find out, okay, how much is the overdraft. You just get, okay, overdraft here without the factor, you say 12% of trade receivables, 12% of that 918,750, you get 110,250. Okay, then you say overdraft under the factor. Let me put this in one page so that we are seeing side by side. Okay. Interest rate times trade receivables. The trade receivables were 262,500. So 12% of that, 31,500. Okay. Then you say the fall in the overdraft, 110,250 minus that 1,500, you get 78,750. Okay, which is the same value as the one we calculated earlier on. Okay, yes. Okay, apart from the interest savings of salary, so it means that admin gets fired. Okay. According to macroeconomics, the unemployment level will grow by 0.1%. Isn't that true, Mr. Kasono? That one person getting fired means the unemployment rate increases by 0.1%. Because the fact, okay, the fall in bad debts, okay, that's also another benefit, okay, because it means some money will be collected. Okay, 78,750. That was the first, but here are the bad debts here. This 78,750 minus 7,250. You just subtract these two values. Okay. Okay. So total benefits, interest savings plus salary savings plus fall in bad debts. Okay. So here first, before we compare the costs with without the factor and the costs with the factor, phase still want to decide phase. Do we need this factor or not? Because what determines if we need the factor or not is the benefits must outweigh the costs. Okay, the benefits must outweigh the costs so that you know whether to engage him or not. Okay, so the benefits, total benefits 125,250. Okay, so the net cost of the factor, you say benefits, net cost or benefit or factors slash benefit. So you say benefits minus costs. Okay. So 125,250, the benefit, minus the cost 612,750, you get negative 487,500. So the costs outweigh the benefits by 487,500. So colleagues, do we employ or not? 125,250. Don't employ him because yes, the costs outweigh the benefit. To be yes, it'd be more expensive hiring the factor. Yes. No, no. There are times there are times when the benefits can outweigh the costs, but in this case, unfortunately, that is not a thing. That is not the case. Yes. So we don't engage the factor. Okay, not engage the factor. Costs with so the cost without the factor. Okay. Salary for admin 15,000. Bad debts which is the 2.5% of that. What was this? 78,050. Okay. Because remember, this money you lose is a cost to your business. Okay, it's going to affect your business. 78,750. Yes. And what else? Was there any other cost? Okay, yeah, then just these ones here. Oh, Interest on overdraft, yes, because you'll be getting interest on overdraft. Because without the factor, you'll be going to get these overdrafts. Where's that value? 110,250. 12% of the trade receivables. So what was the number again? 110 to 50. So those with calculators, how much is that? 110 to 50 plus 78,050 plus 15,000. Yes, 15,000 plus 15,000 plus 78,750 plus 110,250, 200 and 204,000. Okay. So we compare this 204,000, okay, with the cost without a factor, 370, 378,000. The cost with a factor. So the cost with a factor are also outweighing the costs without a factor. Okay. The costs with the factor, which is 378, wait, 612,000, because this was the total cost. Yes, 612,000 costs with the factor outweigh are greater than costs without factor. Okay. So as the assistant financial manager, you go to the head financial manager and say, so here are two reasons why we cannot engage this factor. Reason number one, the cost of the factor outweigh the benefits of the factor by 400 and thing. Wait, by 487,500. The second reason, the costs with the factor outweigh the costs without a factor. Okay, we can also find out by how much. 112 minus 750 by 408,750. Therefore, do not engage the factor.